So, we're right where we left off in the last tutorial, playing the second Bacil in ARP mode, and before exploring sequencing further, I will quickly introduce setting up direct MIDI control, since we could do quite a bit more with a simple set simply by starting there. The newest version of telePort also has a simple MIDI learn functionality, making the process easier. First I'll switch to monoval, so the second note is playing by itself. Directly controlling parameters with MIDI controllers is set up here in MIDI Control. It might look a bit crazy at first, but it's just the available slots, and consider this is the actual physical layout of my MIDI controllers. The idea is a bit like a big bank selector that is connected to everything, and again makes it possible to switch between completely different setups that are controlling completely different instruments and parameters. Just as with any other module, you can store your different presets here, and with read and write, you can import and export presets if needed. I have a preset, for example, where this whole section is a complete mixer with level, pan, mute, and solo for all 9 channels, and this section down here I have set up to control the 4 MIDI looper tracks. I'll just quickly assign a couple of faders by enabling MIDI learn and selecting the slot by clicking its number, then simply turning the knob or fader like you're used to with MIDI learn. And I'll just set up these 3 for now. Assigning the target is very simple and done with these 2 fields, where you first select a category, if you will, and then the actual target. So if I wanted to control the cutoff on channel 5 of my virus, I would simply do like this, because I have the parameters of my hardware instrument integrated into telePort. Or to do something with our set, I could set up one of these faders to change the duration of the notes. So if I select step 2 here, you see I get a list of everything inside, the presets themselves, grab and hold, and so on, and then duration. And now back in the main interface, you can see how the duration scale jumps with whole numbers, which is not very practical for our purpose right now. But clicking the little F here, meaning floating point, lets us set up a range with decimal points. So if I now set the range from 0.5 to 2, you'll see we can really use that for something. So if I want to control something on the synth itself, I would just select the synth here, and then you get the list of parameters, where I'll select cutoff, and then Bacil being Bacil, that won't do anything by itself, but you can see here that it reacts. And I want a range in the top half, so I'll just set that up here, back in MIDI Control. VSTs use the default MIDI resolution of 128, by the way. So there we have it moving like I wanted it to. Now cutoff just needs to do something, which I do like this. Bacil is a lot of fun. I'm not really an expert, but clearly it fits with the mentality of telePort. And there we have an effect from the second fader. And if you listen here, then both together creating a broad range of variation possibilities. Now say you want to control something on an effect, like the delay we have down here, for example. You would just go back to the category selector, and if you choose mix, you would be able to control level, pan, how much to send, and so on. But these ones named MV for mix VST lets you address the specific VST slots. Here's the parameters of the loud max on channel 1, for example. So we have the delay on bus 1 in the first VST slot, and I'll just select that here, and then you get the parameter list. I'll just set that to feedback and set the range to the top half. And now we can have a lot of fun with those 3 faders. And of course I could grab a MIDI loop of those fader movements. So with that playing, I could switch back to ARP mode and then make a harmonic loop by capturing what I'm playing on the keyboard. You can also use specific note ranges to change parameters. And I'll just do that for the duration of the first sequencing module. So if I go back into MIDI Control, I could turn on MIDI Learn here and then select one of these note fields. And pressing the note will also set the range to only that note. From there I can easily adjust. I then want the effect to be reversed, so I'll simply punch in the range like that, from 1.5 to 1. And then you can see here how the duration gets longer as the lower A is played. I could then of course stop the first fader loop and again move the faders manually as the harmonic loop is still playing, and basically keep changing and building patterns as I like. So now we have a setup where we can improvise freely with a lot more expression than before. And I'll just click on Store All to store our MIDI control map as well as changes to that Brazil patch, and then finally save to disk.